Welcome to America's Talking. I'm Art Kane, investigations editor at the Center Square, and I'm joined by investigative reporter Jared Strong. DEI has been a big issue in around the world lately, especially in America, with government spending on it being cracked down by the Trump administration. But Jared found that Illinois is spending quite a bit of money on getting minority contracts for people in the state, but it's not really apparently doing what it's supposed to do, and a lot of people in the government are making a lot of money. Jared, what did you find in the commission in Illinois?
Yeah, well, Illinois has had a goal for decades to get government contracts in the hands of businesses owned by racial minorities, women, and people with disabilities. But over the years, people have griped that this goal was not being met, even though it was on paper. So a few years ago, lawmakers created the Commission on Equity and Inclusion, which some Republicans deride as just creating another layer of government to try to solve the problem. And so what that commission entails is 7 commissioners. Each of them's paid at least $150,000 a year at this point. They have a staff of about 30 people right now, total authorization for 52. And so they're operating on a budget of about up to $7 million a year. Meantime, while all this money is being spent, the proximity or how close they are to reaching their goal has slid backward. Some would say that's because of a better accounting of these contracts that are going out to these businesses. But in the most recent report, the percentage was 4% of government contracts going, or the total money available in these government contracts going to these businesses. Whereas in years past, that percentage was upwards of, 20, 30, even higher percent.
So let's break this down. First of all, the budget of this agency has basically doubled since it was created. Is that right?
Yeah. They started off with a budget of about $3.3 million, and it was for a partial year. But yes, the number is now $7.3 million. And as they've been gaining staff, they have had steady increases in how much that money they're actually spending each year.
And you have these 7 commissioners who you found, unlike other boards, don't even have to work full time for their $150,000. Is that right?
Yeah. Strangely, they're the exception to the rule. Basically, other commissions or boards where they have members that are paid, actually even just less than the commissioners that are part of this agency, they are barred from holding another job, like explicitly barred, and said that this needs to be your full-time job. With this commission, there is no requirement like that.
And so they could hold outside jobs, come there once a month to be at the board meetings and still earn, 3 times the average salary in Illinois?
Yeah, that's right. And I haven't looked back through all of the meeting minutes yet, but the commissioners are not always there. In a recent month, they didn't even have a quorum for one of their meetings. So yeah, those monthly meetings are allotted for 2 hours, and they often don't even run that long.
So that sounds like a pretty good job. On top of that, there's a bunch of staff that makes a lot of money too, right?
Yeah, that's right. The chief of that staff, the executive director, makes about $150,000, and the average salary is about $100,000 for people who work there. So they are higher than average.
So explain what you meant by the fact that they're not meeting the goals. In fact, they seem to be backsliding on the goals, but there is a caveat that they've expanded the pool of the contracts. So what's really happening there? Are they falling down in the job, or are they just setting the goals higher?
Well, the goal is now higher. Before it was 20%. When they created the commission, they increased that to 30%. So under the department of the previous department that was overseeing it was Central Management Services, they were hitting numbers in the 20, 30%. So it's kind of unclear yet what part of this is better accounting and what part of it might be some sort of backsliding. they've identified a wider breadth of contracts that they think should be subject to this goal. So that increased, the pool of money by like 3 times. And they have had successes in getting more of these contracts awarded to these businesses, but it has not increased at anywhere near that rate.
And then I think you mentioned in your story that they're playing games with the percentage now. And so instead of saying how many contracts they're awarding, they're saying how close they are to their goal, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, in these annual reports going back, like I said, many, many years, they always said, they always listed the precise percentage of those eligible contracts or that went to these businesses. Well, that number would have dropped in their most recent report to 4%, which is way lower than what they've ever reported before. And so rather than put that number in there, they changed it to show how much of a piece of that 30% goal it is. So rather than say 4%, they reported 13%. It doesn't make it look nearly as bad.
So it seems like this agency has been created, spends $7 million a year, but does worse than the previous method they had. What did the agency say when you tried to talk to them about it?
Nothing. I mean, they barely responded to my repeated requests for interviews to discuss the work that they're doing. So I don't know. I guess I'll be watching kind of from afar at this point to see what's going on in these meetings going forward. They have the statute that created the commission also created a task force, I guess you could say, that's supposed to aid in this goal too. So we have yet another board, not paid people, but they just met for the first time this week. So we'll see where it goes from here, I guess.
Keep digging into that. And when we get more, we'll put you on to America's Talking and find out more information about it. Thanks a lot, Jared.
Thanks, Art.